All right, I'm finally back to it. Finally get to do some sewing. I already ironed some. I have probably half of them left to iron, but I really feel like this is an important part, so let's get back to it. This side is all done. Now I need to go through and put the other red side on these, and we'll be done using these Quilt Sense Wonder Triangles, and I really do like them. We'll see what the other side looks like and how square they are. I also have to sew these. These are the ones I set aside that I did not cut off. Although that one looks like it's, oh no, because the tops were already cut off. I did not trim these corners off, so you can see it's still square. And these were not trimmed off, they're just the tips, because that's the length you cut them off at. So I'm going to sew these together too, and we'll compare the rectangles and see what they look like. Okay, we're supposed to do family pictures today, but it is wet and soupy outside. So, no family pictures. But that's sort of okay because then it gives me time for sewing. Maybe. If I can find the end where I'm supposed to start at. Oh, what a mess. Oops, it is. Okay. And I can't feed him in this way. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, wait a minute. Yeah. It's gonna be the other side. Alright, now, the other side goes like that, and those lines match up still quite nicely. Very impressive. Oh, these are gonna have to be cut now because I can't fit them in without cutting them. Might actually be faster if I cut all these. Okay, I'm back. I have all these cut out now, and I'm gonna go back to sewing them over here. Okay, so the wind is blowing so bad and it's raining really bad. So doing this 100 times has gotten really old. It makes me really sleepy. But this is my last one, and then I will do the 3 that did not get their corners trimmed. Okay, so I did all that math earlier so that I wouldn't have extra, and I have all these extra, and I have all these, I have a lot of these, both sides. I have a lot of both sides extra, so much for my math. Okay, I've kept these aside. Hopefully my math was better on these than it was on the other ones. Yes. 3 sets here that did not get sides. And I'll do these on the end so I can keep them separated. No, I did this one the wrong way. No wonder it matched up. I was like, wow, that matched up and lined up good. So if you don't trim the corners and it matches up good, you did it wrong. Alright, so there was quite a bit of more guessing when you're doing it that way. You kind of have to guess as to where it is, but I guess once you got it to the point where it was right, then you would know where that sweet spot of it was, but without going through it 100 times, I didn't quite know where the sweet spot was. So I'm going to iron these 3, and then I'm going to put the other side on, and then we'll compare them to the other. Not to mention, you don't realize when you get it wrong, because the one I realized I got it wrong, and this one I didn't realize until I did it like this, that it was wrong. This is how it's supposed to look. I gotta take this one apart too. Okay, now let's put the other side on. I will say that was kind of a bit of guessing. I'm telling you right now though, even before I do this, cut the tabs. It may take a long time when you're cutting all those little nubs and think, ugh, is this really worth it? Yes, because you don't have to try and spend all that time guessing where the sweet spot is now when you're sewing. So yes, trim those nubs off, every single one. All right, let's iron them. See what we got. This is the set that I had to kind of guess at, and this is the set that I cut the nubs off. And they're all just a bit big. I think I might be able to trim it off just a bit. Maybe not even 1/8 of an inch on either side. Trim it up and make it, wait a minute, does it need to be 4.5? It does. That's a bit shy. Man, I don't know what it is with me and these seam allowances. Like, I always take too much. And I checked it this time. Last time showed me though that if I take too much, it makes a difference. It's right this way, but this way it's too much. Do I take all 100 of them out? What would you do? And we were talking not even 1/8 of an inch on either side. I know I said some of them were 4.5. They're just a bit shy. But it does throw it off, because with the cat quilt, it threw it all off. I'm going to leave it, but I know in future videos I'll come back and I'll go, no, don't leave it. But the cat quilt ended up fine. It ended up fine. So I'm just going to trust that these will end up fine as well. Do the shapes and sizes matter as much? Are they any accurate? No, I'm going to say they're all about the same, whether you cut the nubs off or not. It's just, do you spend the time cutting the, which is this one, cutting the nubs off when you're cutting, or do you spend the time measuring them up when you're sewing? You're going to spend the same amount of time. You just are. So it's whether you want to spend it cutting or whether you want to spend it at the sewing machine. That's my opinion on those. But these are great tools, whether you cut the nubs off or not. These are great tools. All right, so while I'm ironing my pieces over here, I have Munchkins working on their quilt over here. This is Ruthie's, and Ian's will be next. They're working on their own first quilts. So this is what my star is going to look like. I'll have a red center, and then I'll have these, and then I'll have the 4 patches in the corners. So, and I'll have 25 of these blocks, and then I'll have to go and make the other blocks. But I'm going to do all of these first. But looking pretty good so far. I'm excited. Okay, so here are some of the fabrics. I went through and I organized them. The stuff on top is all the colors, or the solids colors. And then I've got like novelty prints there. Actually, those are novelty prints and different stuff like that. And florals, and this is stuff that's not, well, my daughter's journal, and fabric that's not quilting fabric. There's batiks in here and like geometrics, and then on this side that's some Christmas, and there's a ton of fabric. I'm actually keeping, I'll show you what I'm keeping. Over here is just a big pile of fat quarters. We're trying to let it air out. I'll tell you about that in a second. This is the stack that I'm keeping. I'm going to do a black and white quilt and some other stuff. All right, so what happened was we got there to get the fabric, and it smelled like smoke, and there was 2 dogs. So I bought all this fabric. I like it. It's really nice. It's really good quilt shop quality fabric because the lady, somebody there smoked, and then they, of course, like I said, they had the 2 dogs, but then her mom owned a quilt shop, and so they're all quilt shop quality, and there's not a Joann's and Hobby Lobby around here. Drove out in the middle of the country, so like those places, really the only place you get quilt fabric is at a quilt shop. But it does have an odor, which is going to be a problem if I want to sell it or even give it away. I mean, those quilting fabrics, you just don't want to wash it. All right, so it's not really easy to see on the screen, but this is kind of a muted red and this is really of a bright red. I don't know, I won't be able to tell until I get everything together, but this may not go with this, which is a shame because I bought this for the quilt and I really like it. I think all the colors kind of go together well with these over here, but these reds, just not. This is more of a rust and that's more of a bright, and trust me, it will make a difference. And then I've also sat down and looked at what else I need for the block. I thought I was going to need, I said I was going to do 4 patches, but I need actually half square triangles of this gray and this darker gray. And I thought I would try a bunch of different half square triangles methods because like I'm really kind of nervous about the bias edge. I know not everybody is, but I found somebody on these de-stash sites who was selling a bunch of thangles. I've heard of thangles, and it's a sheet of paper, so you cut the strips into 4.5 strips, and then you put this on it and you stitch on the dotted line, and then you cut on the solid, and then you tear it away. Is that easier, or is it easier to make a sew all the way around the edges and then cut 8 groups? But then you have a lot of bias edge that you're dealing with. And I was just taught to be nervous about the bias edge and to be careful about it. So, and especially because these are already just a bit off, and I don't know, tell me, do you guys, are you a bias edge worrier, I guess you call it? So what I mean is, like, see, this is a half square triangle. The bias edge, like sometimes the way people have you sew them, this are the straight grain, this is straight and this is straight, but then all the way around your square you have bias edge, which makes your thing wonky. And I would prefer to leave the bias in the middle and have straight grains all the way around the 4. I hope that makes sense. So I'm really concerned about that, but I'm going to try it a bunch of different ways, and the Thingles way, and I have some other ideas that I've been researching, and just see how I like the half square triangles, because I have to do 100 of them, so might as well experiment on my friend's quilt. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Happy sewing!